Hello guys, how are you?
I'm Hardeep Singh. Welcome back to your own YouTube channel. IELTS updates and recent exams. For more updates related to recent IELTS exam writing test topics, listening, reading, practice test, and speaking, you got guesswork. Please guys participate in everyday listening and reading practice test to achieve your desired band score in your actual IELTS exam. Please hit the like and subscribe button. Press the bell icon for the upcoming notifications. Don't forget like, subscribe and share my YouTube channel and my Facebook page, IELTS updates and recent exams.
Part 1.
You will hear a talk given by a guide to a group of tourists going on a coach tour of the capital cities of Europe. First, you will have some time to look at questions 1 to 8. Listen to the talk carefully and answer questions 1 to 8.
41, 42, 43, that's everyone. Okay, if you can just bear with me for a moment or two. Hello everyone. Thanks for getting here on time. We'll get underway directly and make the first leg of our trip. But first, let me introduce myself to you. I'm Jenny Allen, and I'm going to be your tour leader on this trip of European capitals. If you have any problems or difficulties, or if you want to know more about something, then ask me and I'll do my very best to help you. And this is Ray Smith, who is our driver for this tour. And welcome especially to Chadra and Indira. They've just finished their university exams and are celebrating with a tour before going home to India. Now, Eurobus's European Capitals Tour. 5 capitals in 6 days. I gave you our itinerary as you were coming aboard, so let me take you through it. It hasn't changed from the time you booked, I promise, but various things we couldn't put in the brochure have been confirmed now, and I can tell you about them. This is day 1, and we're going to drive from here down the M1 to London, which will be the first of our capitals. We expect to arrive in London at about 1 o'clock in the afternoon. There will be a break for coffee on the way, probably around 11 a.m. at Northampton. After lunch at 3 o'clock, there's a tour of the sights of London. Buckingham Palace, the Houses of Parliament, Trafalgar Square, and so on. At 5 o'clock, we'll book you into your hotel for the night. We have arranged some tea, but we need to leave at 6:30 promptly, please, to get you into the show on time. As we hoped, we're all going to see ABBA the musical. So you can all sing along. We'll be back at the hotel by 11 o'clock, and if you want, you can have a drink or something else to eat then. Day 2. Breakfast is arranged for 7 o'clock. We've booked a full breakfast and the bus will leave at 8:30. We must be on time for this because we've got to book into the Eurostar by 9:30 at the latest, and we can never be sure of the traffic, so we need to give ourselves plenty of time. There's a buffet bar on board Eurostar all the way to Paris, so you can get coffee or snacks or anything during the time it takes to go to Paris, which is our second capital. We should arrive at 10 to 1. We'll go straight to the hotel. By the way, it will be the King George Hotel, not the Victor Hugo Hotel as originally listed. Don't worry, it is actually a much better hotel. The rest of the itinerary in Paris remains the same. Lunch followed by a tour of the city, the Eiffel Tower, the Arc de Triomphe, Notre Dame. You're free for 3 hours after 5 to go wherever you want, and we're booked at 8:30 for dinner at L'Escargot. It has 4 Michelin stars and will be a meal I promise you won't forget.
Before the talk continues, you have some time to read questions 9 and 10. Now listen carefully and answer questions 9 and 10.
Now, I appreciate this is a lot to take in, so I won't go through the rest of it in any detail, although you can ask me later if you want. I'll just point to some of the minor changes so they don't surprise you later. Day 3, we'll drive to Brussels. The trip round the chocolate factory is now confirmed. It will be the Leonidas factory. I'm looking forward to that. There won't be a bus tour of Brussels because there are elections on day 3 and large parts of the city will be blocked off. So we've arranged a walking tour instead. If any of you feel that doesn't appeal, then see me and my colleagues in head office will try to arrange something else instead. Day 4 is Luxembourg, and there's no change there. Day 5 is Berlin. Day 6 is Amsterdam. Not exactly a capital city, but the biggest Dutch town. We have been successful at getting you into the Van Gogh art exhibition there. I know some of you will enjoy that. Then it is back on the ferry, and we hope to be in Wolverhampton by midnight.
That is the end of part 1.
You now have half a minute to check your answers.
Now turns to part 2.
You will hear 2 students, Debbie and Andrew, talking about a university assignment. First, you have some time to look at questions 11 to 14. Now listen carefully to the discussion and answer questions 11 to 14.
Hi, Andrew. I told Dr. Ball that you were under the weather and he gave me the details of the next assignment, so you can get on with it when you're feeling better.
Well, thanks, Debbie. Another essay?
Actually, it's not an essay. We've got to give a presentation to the rest of the group and prepare handouts for them.
We? Is it group work?
It's you, me, Jessica and Mark. It's a business planning exercise. We'll take a hypothetical new business and we'll prepare a business plan for it and then explain it to Dr. Ball. We've got 6 weeks to do it.
So, how do we approach the task?
Dr. Ball suggested we took the idea of running a paramedical training company in the Middle East.
OK. So who's doing what?
Well, we had a chat and we thought you could help Mark. There's quite a bit of medical training in the Middle East, so we can get quite accurate financial costing into this. Mark will do that. He's good at figures.
That's good. I can help. I had a job last summer in an accountant's office, and I've got experience with figures. Anyway, what are you and Jessica going to do?
We can do some more research on the smaller companies in the area who do medical training, while you and Mark can concentrate on the bigger firms. Both Jessica and I have good research skills.
You now have some time to read questions 15 to 20. Now listen to the rest of the discussion and answer questions 15 to 20.
Seems you've been busy planning the whole project.
Well, 6 weeks seems like a long time, but we've got some midterm tests in a fortnight, so I think we'd better get on with this presentation as soon as possible.
You're right. What about arranging when we can meet to check on each other's progress?
Well, that's going to be a bit tricky. Jessica won't be here from next Monday to Saturday, as she's got to have some minor surgery.
Nothing to worry about, I hope.
No, it's just something routine. But Mark will be away at the weekend and won't be back until Tuesday or even Wednesday. His brother's getting married, and he's going to be best man.
That means neither of them will have much time to be working on our project in the next couple of weeks, then?
No, and as we'll all have to be studying for our midterm tests as well, I think you and I will be bearing the brunt of the work in the initial stages, Andrew.
Well, that's fair enough, Debbie. But I hope they'll pull their weight later. I don't want you and I to have to do all the work. We've got to pass these tests too.
You're right, but I don't think Jessica and Mark are the type of people to shirk their responsibilities. Anyway, when are we going to have this meeting?
What about next Wednesday?
Well, Jessica will be fine by then, but Mark isn't sure if he'll be back or not. So what about the following day, to be certain?
Agreed. But where? We all live in different parts of the town. So how about the Student Union Bar?
Don't you think it would be rather noisy?
Not if we meet in the morning. I haven't got any lectures until 2 o'clock.
None of us has. No, wait. Mark has one at 11. But maybe he could miss that this time and copy up the notes. Let's say we'll meet at the bar, but a bit later, at noon.
Good. That's sorted out. Now who's actually going to give the presentation? Jessica has such a quiet voice, and Mark's Scottish accent is difficult to understand.
It's not that strong. Sometimes I can't work out what you're saying, Andrew.
Okay, I admit my accent is not that clear. But remember, we have a couple of Japanese students in the group. It wouldn't be fair on them to have to listen to any of us.
We can decide that later. We don't have to worry about that yet. I have to rush. I've got a lecture in 10 minutes, so get well soon.
Thanks, Debbie. We'll be in touch. Bye.
That is the end of part 2.
You now have half a minute to check your answers.
Now turns to part 3.
You will hear a talk given by Mrs. Beverly Evans about the Borchester Hospital Trust. First, you have some time to look at questions 21 to 24.
Welcome everyone to this final session of the Borchester Health Authority's Nurses Orientation Programme. We're very pleased to welcome Mrs. Beverly Evans, who is the chairman, or should I say, chairperson, of the Borchester Hospital Trust. All you nurses will know how valuable the work of the Trust is to us, and Beverly is going to bring us up to date with some of the things the Trust has been doing. Beverly.
Thank you, Dr. Groves, for inviting me to talk to this group. I am happy to report to you on our progress over the last few months. Well, I'm sure you'd like me to start with the good news. Most importantly, I can report on the Hospital Trust standards for last year. Well, one rough guide is how happy the public were with our service. I am happy to report that 5,961 letters of appreciation were received by the Trust, whilst there were only 57 letters of complaint. I'm sure that we don't want any letters of complaint at all, but I'm sure you'll feel that this is a good result. On the topic of public relations, we have recently established a visitors' charter to inform the public what standards to expect. These standards are now displayed in all patient areas, for instance on ward notice boards. An area of particular concern is that of patients with special needs. One recent initiative is a policy where all patients who have hearing problems have their records marked with a sympathetic ear symbol, only with their consent, of course. This will mean that anyone dealing with those whose hearing is impaired will be aware of the problem from the onset. Now, on to general topics. The main entrance is being improved. You've all seen the plans, I'm sure, and you've walked around the building work. Sorry about that. Well, the work actually started a few months ago. I'm very happy to tell you the work is progressing well and is on budget and on time. By next June, we will have a brand new entrance hall, which will be much better than the old one.
You now have some time to read questions 25 to 30.
We've received a few suggestions which would help patients. One interesting one is that staff who can speak another language should wear a badge to show this. Well, we've worked on this and have now identified speakers of Welsh, Urdu and Arabic. Soon these staff will be sent badges to wear to show they are bilingual. We are hoping to add further languages to the scheme very soon, by the autumn at least. Now, fundraising. As you know, our local newspaper is supporting the cancer appeal. The public's response continues to be excellent, and many donations are received every day. Many members of the public have contacted us with fundraising plans. There are a lot of interesting ideas, but one really good one is for an open-air twilight dinner in the local park. But given our weather, I feel that a large tent would be a good precaution. Other more traditional ideas are for sponsored bike rides and sponsored sea swimming. Details of these and the necessary sponsor forms will be available shortly. Lastly, a report on patient feedback within the chemotherapy unit. We undertook a survey 18 months ago, questioning 50 first attenders and 150 re-attenders in the unit. I'm sure you'll be happy to hear that all, yes, all of these patients felt they were made welcome and were treated courteously at all times. Nearly all, 96%, felt they had their treatment explained satisfactorily, and 98% found the facilities in the day unit to be very good. A small number of areas need to be improved. One is more car parking, more toilet facilities, and better areas for private discussions. But I'm happy that the survey was so positive.
That is the end of part 3.
You now have half a minute to check your answers.
Now turns to part 4.
You will hear two friends, Anne and Jeff, discussing their completion of a student questionnaire. First, you have some time to look at questions 31 to 40.
So, if you would all be kind enough to fill in these questionnaires before you go, I would be most grateful. I do take your comments very seriously, and if you don't tell me if something doesn't work, then I can't do anything about it, can I? Anyway, take a moment now.
Jeff, you've got to help me with this. I never know what to write for these things.
Well, the beginning is easy enough, Anne. You know what year we're in.
The first year, so that's level 1. OK, I'll underline that.
And the title of the course is An Introduction to the History of the South Pacific.
An Introduction to South Pacific History, actually.
And the teacher is Professor Merrick.
And Dr. Smith. She was nice.
I don't remember her. Was that one of the lectures I couldn't attend?
Actually, she did 2 sessions in January. And you had the flu then. Do you remember?
Oh, yes.
But what's the type of teaching? We have lectures and seminars. Should I underline both, or write something in other?
No, a seminar course is one where there are no lectures, just seminar meetings and discussions. The lecture course assumes there'll be some tutorials as well. But it is just considered a lecture course. Underline that.
OK. Now for the hard part. These statements about the course. It's 1 if we disagree, and 4 if we agree, right?
Right. Well, the module is clearly stated aims and objectives. Surely you can give that a 4.
Yes, I agree.
And for number 2, I thought the teaching methods were fine and encouraged me to participate. Give that a 4 too.
You hypocrite! You hardly ever got out of bed for the classes. They certainly didn't encourage you to participate. You should give it a 1 or a 2.
But that was my problem and not his. Professor Merrick is good, and he encouraged me. I just didn't respond. He deserves a 4.
OK, then. Number 3, the same. Number 4, an up-to-date reading list. Well, I think that's true. I'd give it a 4.
I'm not so sure about that. Every time I went to the library, I could only get old books if I could get anything at all. I'll say a 2 for that, or even 1.
You're being unfair, Jeff. You were unable to get the books because you left writing the essay until too late, and other students had the books out. Let's compromise and give it 3. What about book provision in the library being adequate? Is number 5. I think I would give that a couple of points, because a lot of books on the reading list only have 1 copy, and with over 100 people on the course, that's not enough. But the reading list itself is good.
OK, but the time on each topic is fine.
Yes, that's a 4, I guess.
For number 7, the feedback question, I think I'd give that a 4 too. He wrote some very helpful comments on my essays.
I thought I'd have liked the opportunity to talk through the ideas in the essay with Professor Merrick at more length. Just an hour or so. A 2, maybe.
I think that would be hard. You said yourself that there are more than 100 students on the course. If he spent an hour with everyone, you work it out. That's 2.5 weeks' work.
Well, a 3 then. Numbers 8 and 9 get 4s. Number 10, adequacy of classroom and facilities.
Now that is a problem. The room's not big enough for so many people, and the chairs don't have those things on the side so you can make notes. What are they called?
Wings. And it is ever so hot in that room with all those people there.
As Professor Merrick says, if we don't complain about it, no one will change the room. In fact, I think you should say exactly what the problems are in the other comments section. Leave out the hot bit. That's just a result of the fact that the room isn't designed for 100 or so people. We should write down our comments, though.
OK, I'll put our 2 complaints on paper.
That is the end of part 4.
You now have half a minute to check your answers.
So guys, don't forget like, subscribe and share my YouTube channel and my Facebook page, IELTS updates and recent exams. For more updates related to recent IELTS exam writing test topics, listening, reading, practice test and speaking, you got guesswork. Please guys, participate in everyday new IELTS listening and reading practice tests to achieve your desired band score in your actual IELTS exam. For more IELTS material, visit my official website www.ieltsupdatesandrecentexams.com. The link is given below in the description. If you need PDF files of latest IELTS material, then please join my Telegram channel. So guys, please write your score below the comment section. Again, thanks for listening. God bless you all guys. Stay tuned, stay safe.